Welcome. Two shadows never sleep. Here night never ends. And every story hides something waiting to be found. From haunted houses buried deep in forgotten American towns, to Halloween nights that went horribly wrong, and old legends whispered by those who claimed they saw something right before the lights went out. So sit back, turn off the lights, and let the shadows tell you what they've been keeping. New York never truly goes silent. Even at 3 a.m., the city hums, a distant siren, the low rumble of the subway far below, the restless shuffle of someone else's insomnia leaking through the walls. But that night, standing on the landing outside apartment 6B, Olivia swore the city had forgotten her. The hallway was dead quiet. No hum, no movement. Just the thin electric buzz of a flickering light overhead and the hollow echo of her own breath. She'd been walking up and down this same hallway for almost an hour. Every door looked identical. Every number blurred from too many coats of paint, until she reached one that didn't have a number at all. The metal plate had been ripped off, leaving only a patch of torn wood behind. A chill crawled up her arms. The Craigslist ad said top floor studio. No lease, no questions. She remembered laughing about it with her friend Mia, joking that it sounded like a setup for a true crime podcast. Now, staring at the unmarked door, it didn't feel so funny anymore. Still, she was desperate. Her last apartment had been full of roaches. Her landlord refused to fix the heating. $600 a month in Manhattan was a miracle, even if it came wrapped in red flags. When she pushed the key into the lock, it turned easily, as if the door had been waiting. The smell hit her first, something chemical, sharp, like old bleach. The lights hummed to life with a faint delay, revealing a small studio, dusty, window covered with thick blinds, furniture draped in yellowing white sheets. She dropped her suitcase near the couch and exhaled, half laughing at her own nerves. Home. Sweet murder scene, she whispered. There was a refrigerator in the corner, unplugged but still humming faintly. The sink had a single glass left beside it, and the walls, painted beige over beige, had strange circular patches where something had once hung. Maybe photos, maybe mirrors. She brushed her fingers along the wall near the door and frowned. The paint there felt different, softer, almost damp. By midnight, she'd managed to unpack a few things and pull the sheets off the bed. The mattress was surprisingly new. Too new. Actually, plastic still crinkled beneath the sheets. Someone had replaced it recently. That was her last coherent thought, before she collapsed into sleep. The first sound woke her around 3:47 a.m. It was soft, a dragging noise, like a chair being moved across the floor above her. She blinked into the dark, heart skipping. Her landlord had told her this was the top floor. No one above. She held her breath, listening. Drag. Pause. Drag. Then silence. She turned on her phone flashlight and pointed it toward the ceiling. Nothing but cracks and uneven plaster. When she pressed her ear against the ceiling, the air felt colder there. The sound didn't return. She tried to go back to sleep, but the silence felt heavier now, like the air itself was listening. Morning brought a little normalcy. The sunlight that filtered through the blinds looked almost golden. She made instant coffee with bottled water and stood near the window. Below, the city was alive again, honking, shouting, breathing. It felt reassuring. But when she tried to lift the blinds, they wouldn't move. They were nailed shut from the top. She tugged harder, but the wood creaked, refusing. Something about that small detail unsettled her more than the dragging noise. Why would anyone nail blinds shut in a top-floor studio? She texted Mia a photo of the window. Creepy, right? But cheap rent wins. Mia replied instantly. Girl, that looks like a murder cover-up. Leave? Olivia laughed it off and got ready for work. When she returned that evening, her key didn't turn right away. The lock felt stiffer, like it had been changed. She twisted it harder until it gave way. Inside, everything looked the same, except for one thing. The glass by the sink was gone. She checked the counter, under the table, even the trash can. It was just gone. Maybe she'd moved it and forgotten. Maybe not. That night, she left a mug half full of tea on the counter before going to bed, just to test herself. If it moved again, she'd know she wasn't imagining things. At 4:12 a.m., she woke again, this time to a whisper, a low, breathy sound near her ear. Words she couldn't make out. Her body froze. She didn't move, didn't breathe. For a second, she thought it was a dream, until she felt the air shift beside her, the faint warmth of someone exhaling near her neck. Her hand shot to the lamp, switching it on. The room was empty. The mug was still there, but the mirror above the dresser was fogged, and on the glass, faint letters traced by an unseen hand. "Don't look up." Her chest locked. Her eyes darted to the ceiling before she could stop herself. Nothing, just cracks. No, wait. One of them seemed to move. A shape was pressed into the corner, just where the wall met the ceiling. Pale still, its limbs too long, folded in on themselves like an insect. Two eyes reflected the lamplight, small, glinting, focused directly on her. She screamed, stumbling back against the bed. The shape crawled upward, soundless, until it blended back into the darkness. Her phone slipped from her shaking hand. She grabbed her bag, ran for the door, and pulled, but the knob wouldn't turn. It was ice cold, as if frozen. Then, a sound, not from the ceiling this time, from behind the walls. A slow tapping, moving from one end of the room to the other. Olivia backed toward the window, her breath coming in sharp bursts. "Stop," she whispered, tears welling up. "Please stop." The tapping stopped. For almost a full minute, there was silence again. Then the blinds, the nailed, unmovable blinds, rattled violently, as though something on the other side wanted in. She screamed, covering her ears, and then silence again. When she finally dared to look up, the room was perfectly still. The mirror was clear again. The blinds hung quiet. The air felt normal. She didn't sleep after that. She sat in the corner until dawn, the lamp still on, staring at the ceiling. When the sun rose, she packed her bag. By the time the landlord arrived, she was halfway out the door. He looked confused when she explained what had happened. "Footsteps above me, whispering, writing on the mirror. There's something wrong with that apartment." The landlord frowned. "What apartment?" 6B, she snapped. "Top floor." He blinked slowly, his face pale. "Miss, there is no 6B. Her mind blanked. "What do you mean?" "I'm staying there." He turned, pointing down the hall. "This building ends at 6A. There's never been a 6B. That side of the floor was sealed off years ago." Olivia laughed weakly, shaking her head. "No, you're wrong. I have a key. I've been living there for 3 nights. He looked at her key, then back at her face, and whispered, "Where did you get that?" "The ad. Craigslist. It said you were the contact. I never posted anything." Her heart thudded in her chest. Together, they walked down the hall. The air grew colder with each step. When they reached the end, where her door had been, there was nothing, just a blank wall, painted over. Seamless. Olivia dropped her bag. Her mouth fell open. No, it was right here. I slept inside. The landlord took a step back, his eyes wide with something between fear and recognition. "We sealed that apartment 10 years ago," he said quietly. "A tenant was found dead inside. The police never figured out how she locked herself in." Olivia stared at the wall, her reflection trembling faintly in the polished paint. For just a moment, barely half a second, she saw something move within it, a pale shape, folded, waiting, watching her from inside the wall. She stumbled backward, her pulse pounding. The landlord reached for her shoulder, but she yanked free. When she turned back toward the wall, it was smooth again. "Empty," he whispered. "Let's go downstairs, please." But, as they walked away, Olivia glanced once more over her shoulder, and in that fleeting second, she saw it. A faint door outline shimmering under the hallway light. A single, greasy handprint pressed against it from the inside. That night, in her new hotel room, Olivia couldn't sleep. The city outside felt louder than ever, like it was trying to drown out the memory. She picked up her phone and scrolled back through her photos. The one she'd sent Mia of the apartment window, the blinds nailed shut. The photo looked the same, except now, there was a figure standing behind the blinds, face pale, eyes black, looking straight at the camera. And this time, it was smiling. And this time, it was smiling. The photo wouldn't stop haunting her. She kept staring at it, the faint outline behind the blinds, the pale smile that hadn't been there before. Every time she zoomed in, it almost looked different. The angle of the head changed slightly, the smile stretched wider. By morning, she hadn't slept at all. Her phone buzzed with messages from Mia. "Where are you? You said the landlord freaked you out. What happened? Live. Answer me, or I'm calling the cops." Olivia typed back, "I'm fine, just tired, staying in a hotel tonight." Then she turned her phone face down. Outside, New York was just waking up, commuters pushing past one another, coffee in hand, pretending the world was normal. She sat by the window of her tiny hotel room and watched them, realizing how invisible fear could be in a city like this. Nobody looks up. Nobody listens. You could vanish in the middle of a crowd, and no one would notice. By 11 a.m., she decided to go back to the building. She told herself it was for closure, but deep down she knew she needed proof. Something physical. Otherwise, she'd never convince herself it was real. When she reached the building, the front door was propped open by a delivery box. The lobby smelled faintly of old paint and rust. The landlord wasn't there. She climbed the stairs slowly, each creak echoing up the stairwell. At the sixth-floor landing, she froze. The blank wall at the end of the hallway looked untouched, smooth, freshly painted, but the light above it flickered once, then twice. For a split second, the wall looked different. Faded outlines appeared, a doorframe, a knob, like something beneath the paint trying to show through. Her breath hitched. She stepped closer. The air was colder here. Not draft cold, something deeper, like the chill that crawls through you when someone whispers your name in the dark. She reached out and touched the wall. It was solid, but there was a faint vibration, almost like a heartbeat pulsing beneath the surface. Then a voice behind her. "Miss, can I help you?" She spun around. A man in a janitor's uniform stood a few feet away, holding a mop. He was older, maybe in his 50s, eyes tired, but curious. "I used to stay here," she said, trying to sound calm, "in 6B. He frowned. "You sure about that?" She nodded. 3 nights. It was right here. She pointed at the wall. The man stepped closer, squinting at it. "Ain't no 6B, miss. Never has been." That side collapsed back in '04. Gas leak, explosion, killed a young woman. Whole unit sealed off. Her heart dropped, collapsed. He nodded slowly. "You must be mistaken. That wall's solid concrete now. Been patched and sealed for 20 years. Olivia swallowed. "But I have photos." "My stuff was in there." He looked uneasy. "Sometimes, people say they hear things from this floor. The owner tells me not to talk about it, but..." He hesitated. "You said you stayed there. You didn't go through the main door." She shook her head. "There was a door. I had a key." The janitor stared at her for a long time. Then he said quietly, "You shouldn't have been able to open that door." He turned and walked away before she could ask anything else. Her knees felt weak. She reached into her bag, pulled out the old key she'd taken with her, a dull brass key with 6B scratched into the side. It looked ordinary, but when she turned it in her fingers, the metal felt warm. To warm. Olivia pocketed it and left, promising herself she'd never come back. But that night, she heard the dragging sound again, not from above this time, from her hotel room wall. She sat up in bed, heart pounding. The sound was faint but steady, like someone slowly dragging fingernails across plaster. She turned off the TV and pressed her ear to the wall. The noise stopped. Then came a whisper, low and breathy, right next to her ear. "You came back." She stumbled backward, slamming her shoulder against the bed frame. The air in the room thickened, heavy and stale, like the smell of dust trapped for decades. Her phone lit up, a new notification, unknown number. "Do not look UP." Her hands trembled as she lifted her eyes. The ceiling above her was blank white, but the corner by the bathroom door was darker. She squinted. The shadow was wrong. It wasn't connected to anything. It was watching her. She ran out of the room barefoot, leaving everything behind. Outside, she didn't stop until she reached a 24-hour diner 3 blocks away. The waitress gave her a wary look when she sat down, hair disheveled, breathing hard. Olivia ordered coffee. She didn't drink. She just sat there until sunrise, hands shaking round the mug. The city's noise finally drowning out her thoughts. By morning, she decided to do the one thing she hadn't done yet: trace the history of the building. She found a public record office on 35th Street. The clerk there barely looked up when she asked for property files on West 82nd, building number 421. After some searching, he handed her an old folder. Inside were yellowed papers, permits, incident reports, and one photo, black and white. A young woman standing outside the same building, holding groceries. The caption underneath read, "Tenant found deceased in apartment 6B. Cause, asphyxiation. 2004. Olivia's stomach turned cold. The woman looked just like her. Not exactly, but close enough to make her skin crawl. The same shape of face, same eyes, same faint scar above the eyebrow. The report said the tenant's name was Lena Morris, 26 years old, died alone, discovered 3 weeks after neighbors reported a smell. She read the last line twice. Body was found kneeling near the door, hands pressed flat against the inside wall, as if trying to get out. Olivia dropped the folder and stumbled out of the office, nausea rising. She walked without direction for almost an hour, until the crowds thickened and the traffic noise became unbearable. Only then did she realize she was back near her old building again. She didn't want to go in. Every instinct screamed to turn back. But something stronger, curiosity, obsession, maybe something else pulled her toward it. The front door was locked this time, the windows dark, but the alley beside the building had a metal fire door propped open slightly. She slipped inside. The stairwell smelled of wet concrete and rot. Her footsteps echoed softly, like someone following her just out of sync. When she reached the 6th floor, the hallway lights were out. Only the glow of her phone illuminated the walls. The blank wall at the end shimmered faintly under the light. Her fingers brushed against it again. The paint felt cold, almost wet. Beneath it, she could feel texture, indentations, faint shapes, maybe even words. She pressed harder. The wall pulsed once, like something alive beneath it. Then her phone buzzed. Another message. Unknown number. Knock 3 times. She froze. The hallway was dead silent. She should have run. She knew that. But her body moved on its own. Slowly, she lifted her hand and knocked. Once, twice, 3 times. The sound echoed through the corridor. Then the wall answered. 3 knocks. From the other side, she stumbled back, choking on fear. Her phone slipped from her hand, hitting the floor. The flashlight flickered. For a moment, she saw movement, a faint outline pushing against the wall, as if someone trapped inside was pressing forward. The paint cracked. A line split open across the surface, spreading downward like a wound. Cold air hissed through it, carrying a smell of dust and something older, something like decay. Olivia turned and ran. Down the stairs, through the lobby, into the street. She didn't look back. When she reached her hotel, she went straight to the bathroom sink and splashed water on her face. Her reflection looked pale, hollow-eyed, but it was hers, until she blinked. For a fraction of a second, the reflection didn't move. It just smiled. She stumbled backward, heart hammering, and the mirror cracked from corner to corner with a sharp sound, like glass screaming. The lights flickered. When they steadied again, her reflection was normal, except for one thing. There was something behind her. She spun around. Nothing. The room was empty. Her phone buzzed once more. Unknown number. You shouldn't have left the door open. She stared at it, shaking. Then she noticed something new on the edge of the key she still carried. The brass was darker now, the number 6B half melted, like it had been burned, and when she held it up to the light, she saw her own reflection in the metal. Except it wasn't her eyes staring back. They were black, hollow. That night, she dreamed of the hallway again. Only this time, she wasn't standing outside the wall. She was inside it, buried in the plaster. The world muffled and cold. Her fingers scraped against concrete that wouldn't give. She tried to scream, but the sound came out as a whisper, echoing through endless darkness. Don't look up. When she woke, her hands were covered in white dust, paint dust, and her hotel room wall had 3 knocks on it. The morning she disappeared, the hotel staff swore they saw her leave around 5 a.m., barefoot, clutching something small in her hand. They found her room door open, lights flickering, and a trail of white dust leading to the hallway. No one saw her again. 2 days later, the janitor at 421 West 82nd was mopping the 6th floor corridor when his mop stopped mid. The wall at the end had cracked again, a faint outline visible under the paint. He leaned closer, squinting at what looked like letters scratched into the plaster. It spelled one word, Olivia. That night, as he turned off the lights, he thought he heard faint knocking from behind the wall. 3 slow, deliberate taps. Weeks passed. The Craigslist ad disappeared. The landlord stopped taking calls. And yet, late at night, tenants still whispered about the pale woman, sometimes seen, standing at the end of the hallway. Her eyes dark, her face blank, her fingers brushing the wall, as if tracing a way out. Some said she looked lost. Others swore she smiled when the lights flickered. And if you ever find yourself on the 6th floor of that building, if the hallway feels too quiet, if the air grows colder, if you see a wall where a door should be, don't touch it. Don't knock. And whatever you do, don't look up.